Welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast, where we learn about some success stories and some not so successful stories. But either way, we learn. Each episode, we talk with successful real estate agents and vendors about things they have done to make them successful and some things they did that you might want to avoid. Join us for each episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin.
So, in this podcast episode, normally I interview different real estate brokers, who are killing it in some fashion or another. So, I was set to interview Lindsay Smith, who is she's killing it, by the way, but she's the team leader of Keller Williams South Park here in Charlotte. So what we set up was she has a podcast as well. So I went over there to South Park, and she was going to interview me, and then I was going to interview her, and that's exactly what happened. However, the I don't know. So this recording is us talking. It's actually her interviewing me. The second part of it, where I interviewed her, kind of got, I don't know, on my recording device, it I don't know if it's corrupted or what. I only got the first half of it. So that's the part that you'll listen to here. And it's a great conversation, but it's Lindsay interviewing me instead of me interviewing Lindsay. But I think it's great content. So that's what you're about to hear. And thank you guys for listening.
I love it.
Okay, so This will actually help with that too, because it will be the marker that you actually listen to start everything.
But yeah, let's start with yours.
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Wow. Welcome to the professional studios of Keller Williams South Park, Preston. You didn't even know that's what was going to happen today, did you?
I didn't, but this is pretty awesome.
I love it.
You're going to have to start that again because I'm leaving.
Okay, bye. Have fun. We'll come get you.
Okay.
Okay, bye. All right, Preston. Inspector Crazy Pants.
Yeah, that's me.
Owner of Home Inspection Carolina.
Yes. Yeah. The Inspector Crazy Pants, I realized we had to stand out some way or another. And when I was in high school, I played football, but during the basketball season, I was the Eagle for our high school.
You were the mascot.
I was, and I was trying to figure out some way to do crazy stuff, and the San Diego Chicken was my hero at the time. I don't know if you remember the San Diego Chicken, but so I know I'm going all around here.
Go.
But so I don't know if you remember. I'm old, so this was the '80s, and there were these jam shorts. That was the style, like the crazier the better. So I took home ec, and I was really good friends with home ec. So she helped me out sew all these. So my Eagle outfit had all these like different pairs of jams, and every game I would wear different jams. I'd come in with a surfboard, and then it was just cool. And I had like all kinds of crazy stuff I would do. I would just crazy antics. But the jams, the crazy, that was the shorts with the crazy pattern, and just the crazier the better. That was part of the stick. And when I got into business doing home inspections, I was like, I need something to stand out. Well, those jams did well for me, so I think I'll do the Crazy Pants.
From home ec to home inspection.
I like that. I might have to steal it.
Okay, you go for it. That could be your tagline. I never expected that's where the Crazy Pants was going to come from.
Well, it does serve a dual purpose. It gets you remembered and embarrasses your kids. So when they were young, of course they're 20 and 24 now, but when they were young, if they started, being bad, I was like, don't do your homework, I'm coming to school. These pants! And school cafeteria, me and you, pants! Okay, Daddy, I'll do my homework. So.
Alright, I gotta know, how many pairs of pants, Crazy Pants, you probably have by now?
how many do I tell my wife, or how many do I actually have?
You can admit to whichever one you prefer, and we'll just know that one might be lower than the other one.
Probably around 50.
Really?
Yeah. Some guys it's golf clubs, some guys it's car parts. Jeep. I've heard people get into Jeeps, and it's like they keep accessorizing to the point they're having to have the Jeep parts mailed to their office because their wife. For me, it's pants. So.
I love that. So you probably weren't always going to go into home inspections.
No.
You obviously had a flair for life from the very beginning. You were a mascot, in high school. What did you think you were going to do when you were in high school?
Yeah, it wasn't on my bingo card.
Sign me up. Yeah. I know those bingo cards well.
Yeah. So I actually, I went to college. I'm from Kernersville, North Carolina, and I went to UNC Greensboro because I was dating a girl. You know how that.
Yeah.
You're local because you're a girl and whatever. That's not the person I wound up marrying. But I am married for 28 years. But so I actually went to college, didn't know what I wanted to major in. I was in a fraternity, and there was a crip class for education that all the brothers took. Said, "Oh man, it's easy. It's all girls. I mean, it's elementary education. I mean, I hope you don't think I'm sexist or anything, but." 18-year-old dude, 19-year-old dude at the time. So yeah, that sounds like me. So I took it, and meanwhile, I was working at a swimming pool. I worked at the same swimming pool, and I taught swimming lessons and all that. So I had worked with kids, and I actually drove a school bus in high school too, because you could do it. I don't know why I was a 16-year-old. Looking back, it didn't seem like the best decision, but I'm 16 years old, and I got 50-some 5-year-olds in it. That does not seem like, but neither here nor there. Multiple people are like, "Man, you're pretty good with kids. You ought to think about that." And then the culmination of that, and that movie Kindergarten Cop came out. You remember Arnold? It was not a total. And I was kind of into working out, and I was like, "Well, hey, it is all girls, and you get your summers off, and it seemed like a good." So I majored in education, or I got a master's in education.
Wow.
So I came to Charlotte to teach. Actually, I got hired through a job fair. They make all the education majors go to the job fair. I didn't want to go because I'd had a job already lined up in Greensboro, but they make you go. And the Charlotte booth, I was really hungry, and they had cookies. So I went up to they were like, "Hey, when you come back." And at the time, this was mid-90s. There was a big push to get men in elementary education because, and I'm not trying to sound whatever, but, a lot of single parent homes and stuff, that don't have, and they would like men in elementary would be a good thing. And so they had me come back and interview, and they offered me a job. So I was thinking, at the time, they had the NBA team and they were getting the NFL team. Not that that's the criteria that you pick a job for, but I was 22. I was 22. So I took it, and I came to Charlotte, and first 6 months, I signed a contract, and first, I hated it, Lindsay. I hated it because I was from a small town, and I knew, you couldn't go out without seeing people you knew, and all of a sudden, I'm on Queens, and I don't even know which way to go. Like, what the heck? I still don't know which way to go. So again, a lot of people get around. I lost every day, and I was like, I'm going to finish my contract, and I'm out. But I met my wife now of 28 years midway through the year, and I'm still here. And I decided I liked it a lot better. But so I started teaching, and I had a cousin who owned a pest control company, and I started working for him in the summer, and he started getting into home inspection, and I started doing that. And I love the teaching, but for all the teachers out there, and people who know teachers, they don't do it for the money. They don't do it for the money at all. And I realized that, for me to do well for my own children and all that, I still love teaching. We still do a lot of volunteer, but I was going to need to make more money. So I saw the potential there to make more money doing that. So I went to my cousin. I was like, "Hey, I think we can blow this up, make it bigger," because home inspection's only been around since the mid-'80s, by the way. It used to be, buyer beware. Everybody worked for the seller. But he went all in there. So eventually I got all my own licenses and started out on my own. And that's how Home Inspection Carolina came about. And I did wear normal pants in the beginning.
At the beginning, that was normal. How long has Home Inspection Carolina been around for?
Since 2006. Yeah,
Wow.
I did have two, and I worked for him for a while, and I had another company and a partner. But yeah, 2006, pretty much Home Inspection Carolina. I used to wear khakis, but it wasn't as fun then. So.
Okay, I get that. What was the moment when you were doing this that you were like, this is actually going to really work?
I think, I've had several of those eureka moments, I guess.
Yeah.
I just, going out on my own, seeing, proof of concept or whatever. I do love the fact, I'm going to go back, I tell stories. I mean, that's what I do.
That's what we're here for.
I grew up kind of poor, and I lived in a trailer park until we were middle school. And I remember I rode the bus, unfortunately in Kernsville. It was like the bus that went through the trailer park also went through the richest part of town. Mm-hmm. And you knew which part of town you were from. And mine wasn't the good part. So, and not to read all of it, but the point where we bought our own house was like Christmas. I mean, it was a small house, and it was just so awesome. We had saved up and we bought a small little house and we moved from the trailer to the house. Mm-hmm. And I just remember how proud and how, it's hard to describe when you ascend from something to something better in home ownership. Because, the trailer, we rented a trailer on rented land. This is something we owned. And I just remember how that felt. And I love being a part of that for other people, especially first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. So when you help somebody, and they're getting their first house, and I participated in a program a couple of years back where it got people out of public housing to their first home, and they had to take like these courses because they got financial help. And one of the courses was home maintenance, because they lived in public housing, changing filters and just different home maintenance stuff. And I got to teach that, and then I got to see these people buy a house, and I got to see just the look on their face, their kids, there's nothing better. I don't know how to explain that. And to be, owning a home is the American dream, and to be a small part of that to me I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Honestly.
It's really special, isn't it?
And you get to be part of it too.
I do. And there's something when you first take somebody. We've taken people from renters to buyers, thinking that they're going to come in and we're going to help them find a rental, and then come to find out the rental market is not much better than what their mortgage payment could be right now.
And my mortgage payment was less than my rental payment.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So to be like, hey, instead of renting, why don't you buy?
Yeah.
And what that looks like for them.
And at the time, now this is way back when I bought my first house, my getting a loan, it may not be this way now, but getting a loan was easier. There was some problems with that. Was easier than getting qualified for a rental at the time. Mm-hmm. So it was, but to go from renting, and I get.
Hold on, that's the light.
Oh.
We get to go up. And we get to go turn on. So how long did that last for? Let's see. That went for about 11 minutes. Okay, good to know. 10-minute timers.
I wonder if there's a way to...
I mean, listen, you want to fix it, let's go.
Yeah. So is it motion that's causing?
It's motion. Yeah. But it's weird, because if he stands there and barely moves, it doesn't matter. It stays on. But even us doing this, it's because the angle. It doesn't sense us, because we're moving more than he moves behind the camera.
I mean, certainly there's a more long-term fix, but my short-term kind of ghetto fix is we need one of those things.
We need one of those Buddha caps
that just keeps moving. Yeah. And just put it in front of the motion sensor.
On it. Amazoning it today.
Yeah, or the cat thing, or the little bird that you break the wood.
Yes.
Or even the little balls that.
That would work.
Just something that gives constant motion. Yeah. Now, granted, that's not a long-term fix, but I'm going for short-term here.
We're going for immediate fix.
Just constant motion.
I love it. So, first big moment. You said you had multiple kind of those eureka moments. What was it for you in your business?
Full circle moments. I told you I was a teacher, and I was a teacher in Charlotte, America for 3 years, and God bless all the teachers out there. And I love when you go to a game and they salute the military. And I think they should do it for teachers too, every time, because those. I mean, granted, they're not putting their life on the line, but my gosh, they're dedicated. But anyway, sorry.
You're good.
Remember the gong show?
Come on back.
Reel me back in. But So a lot of my former students, they were 10 years old at the time. I taught third and fifth grade. They still friends of mine on Facebook, probably about a third of them, and I did inspections for them. And they're having babies now, and it's just full circle moment, and I don't know, circle of life, whatever you want to call it. But that's a good thing that And I remember, I've had a couple that like post me and like their radios. So, who's your favorite teacher or whatever? Mm-hmm. I only taught 3 years, and I had a couple people say that for me. I don't know. Sorry,
That's huge, Preston, that you made that big of an impact on them.
Well, it's. I love to see now that these people are having families and doing, and I'll try to help them as much as I can. We gotta. One day we're gonna leave this world. And my goal is to leave it a little bit better than we found it. It's like if somebody let you borrow a lawnmower or truck or something like that, you would borrow it, but you'd return it with a full tank of gas. And, not to get, but some higher being put us on this earth, and I want to just return it a little better than I found it. And it's, if I can do that by home ownership or helping somebody, because home ownership involves a lot, and, a lot of times if people just barely get into that house, they don't want to be faced, a new roof or a new furnace or something like that right off the bat,
Yeah.
So
it's expensive. It's really expensive. So I want to circle back. You mentioned that you were doing this project, community service, where you were helping people move from certain housing to owning their own housing, community housing to owning their own housing.
Right.
Talk to me about community service with you.
Well, cool. Well, we love that sort of thing because, just like I said, money's one thing, but I think you're your highest and best self when you're helping other people. I don't know. There's some saying, reach back and help somebody else, and people have helped me in my life. Even in my, of course, I know this is going to sound like first world problems, but I was in a fraternity, and I worked my way through college, and I was about to drop out of the fraternity because I couldn't afford the dues, because I'm barely being able to pay. Yeah. Anyway, they, in a meeting, I didn't even know about this, they passed the hat around for me to pay my dues, and these people aren't related to me or anything.
Yeah.
And I never forget that, and later, when I started doing well in business, I went back and gave money to them, and I said, if you got somebody struggling, help them out.
Yeah.
And, even when I was in the fraternity, one of the best things we did was at Christmas, we would go around, we got this list of, sorry, that's terrible.
Are you kidding me? It's the heart of who you are, and it's the heart of what shows through in Home Inspection Carolina. Like, that caring comes through in all aspects, and I love that it's been 20 plus years since that moment for you. I was trying to give you a praise, okay? And it still can move you like that, and the fact that you still remember it and you're going back and paying it so far forward, decades forward, like that, there's such an integrity in that.
Oh, thank you. Well, and so one of the things we did too is, like, at Christmas, we would get this list of kids that were very underprivileged, probably weren't going to get anything for Christmas. So we raised money for gifts, and I did this, like a week or two before Christmas, and we went around, two groups of us, and I was Santa Claus. I dressed like Santa Claus. I was one of the bigger guys. So anyway, we went into these homes and we brought toys. And I mean, Lindsay, some of these places, there were people living in hotels. It was literally like, old rundown hotel. It was like where they were living now. And just to see these kids, wow. I never, one of the best and worst experience of my life. Worst, I just mean sad to realize that there's, that stuff I complain about, man, there's nothing compared to, some of these people. So, moving forward in Home Inspection Carolina, we try about every other month or so, we'll pick a charity and we'll give like $5 of each home inspection for that month. We've done the food bank, love to do, breast cancer in October, I think it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We've done a home out in Union County for battered women. And if you know of a good charity, let me know. I mean, it's, granted $5 of each inspection for a month from us isn't, this isn't like trust fund money, but, every little bit helps, I think. And it just, it all instills in myself and people working at Home Inspection Carolina that we're doing something, we're turning it better than we found it, and that's, we're all going to die, and, not that I'm keeping score, but, I want to, when I die, or on my deathbed, I want to feel that I just left it a little bit better than I found it.
The legacy you're leaving behind is quite spectacular.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, it's just, there's one thing to earning a living, and that's respectable, but if you can do the next level is help the next person in line, So
I agree.
Anyway, sorry.
I love it. This is amazing.
I didn't expect that.
You didn't expect to come in here? Listen, I have tissues in my office. I get this more often.
About water heaters.
Actually, let me tell you this story.
Let me go right into your heart there and pull that thing. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, well then let's get into the inspection piece of it.
Just kidding.
I feel like lately you guys have really stepped up in your fun and marketing, showing the scary side of home maintenance or lack thereof.
Right.
I've seen some of your videos and I think they're great. What kind of was that moment where you were like, we got to get on social media and we got to show the seriousness of hiring the right person while exposing some of the craziness? I don't think people realize some of the stuff that we see.
Oh, 100%. Well, I think, Lindsay, you got to be where the eyeballs are. And I stole that from Gary Vee. I know you're an AV person's a big Gary Vee. I am too. And it's like you got to be where the eyeballs are. Back when our parents, it was TV and it was the Yellow Pages was where you.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, Gary Vee has this saying like, if there's a billboard and 4 people riding in a car, 3 of those people are probably looking at their phones. Maybe 4. So you've got to be there, like it or not. And now the big thing is short-term video. Like who knows? 10 years from now, maybe something different. But that's the trend now. So it's like TikTok, Instagram Reels. I think Facebook posts. It's just kind of evolved. And even my wife. I mean, my wife's on TikTok. I mean, she gets her recipes really good. I mean, I'm sure TikTok didn't set out for my wife's demographic, but they now have it.
Oh my goodness gracious, turn it back on. Yep, every 10 minutes it's going to go. All right, that's good to know. So, your wife finds recipes on TikTok, but wait, does she use it? I think TikTok was really kind of meant to be like a search engine. I use it like a search engine more than I use it.
Yeah, well, my daughter's actually a TikTok influencer.
Is she really? Yes, you can. I love that.
Sarah Margaret Eats. She reviews food. She gets paid. That's her full-time job now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to mess up her career or anything, but she makes quite a bit.
So is she helping you with your social media?
She used to, but I can't afford her. She got too expensive. But, to go back to your point, if you can get on social media, obviously you advertise your business, but can you provide help, tips? One thing that has really kind of alarmed me, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in the last 4 or 5 years, there have been several home explosions. And I feel like, I don't know if there's a mission or something like that, but I'm like, hey, this this needs to stop. It's all gas leak related.
It is.
You know, there was one in Valentine, there was one up in Lake Norman, the football player.
Yep, the football player's family.
And then there was just one just this past week.
I saw that.
Around Lombardi on the thing there. But now they're saying that might have been arson or something.
Yeah, they did say that one they thought was more than that. But you're right, there's been some gas issues.
So I've kind of been on a mission lately to, get a gas leak detector. The gas, you don't smell it, but they actually do put something in it that makes there is kind of a methane smell, but it's artificial.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's oddly enough, though, it's going to sound gross here. I'm just going to be honest. It has the same smell if a place is kind of I've gone into, government housing and stuff like that. If a place is infested with roaches, it kind of has this methane smell.
Interesting.
Yeah, because way back when I first started, doing inspections and stuff, I kept thinking, I was like, man, is there a gas leak in here? And I kept, I would go around to like the normal places where the stoves attach and cooking and all that. And then it turned out they were infested with roaches. So anyway, didn't mean to take us down that thing, but it's a methane smell. But I highly recommend three things every house needs is a smoke detector, obviously. You need it near where you're sleeping and where any appliance is, that sort of thing. Smoke, and then a carbon monoxide detector. Now, I know a lot of people might say, well, I have electric, whatever. Do you have garage? Do you have, there's been a lot of that, too, where people, carbon monoxide poisoning, up in Boone, that hotel is like, look that up. The Best Western. Well, I shouldn't say the name.
We'll edit it out. We'll bleep it out. Nobody will know.
Well, it's public knowledge. It was an elderly couple died in the room up in Boone in a hotel, and then a child too. Now I can't a child at a different time, same room, but I can't remember which one was first. And you would have thought, and what's the chances the man and woman die on the same? They don't naturally die at the same time. It was a gas leak. That was carbon monoxide. So there's two different things we're talking about. Gas leak cause explosion is the supply. And then carbon monoxide is the waste product, which inhibits our body's ability to absorb oxygen.
Got it.
So, but anything through social media, if I see stuff like that, if I can educate that sort of thing, there are a lot of inspectors out there going viral, and I don't want to throw shade at them. I know a few of them, where they're talking about some of the problems and things like that. Which I think is good, but I personally haven't gone that direction too far. I mean, like I throw funny stuff or whatever, because I don't know if that becomes the plot of every video. At some point, you're doing a normal house, like, are you? I don't know. I'm not trying to throw shade or something, but I just don't want to go down. The facts are the facts. You know? And I would never disparage anybody's house or anything like that. I'm just like, hey, this is a problem, and this is why. Yeah. You might want to look out for this in your own home, that sort of thing.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher with Superior School of Real Estate, and I'm here with Preston Sandlin of Home Inspection Carolina. Preston, I've always liked your style, especially those pants, and also I've been interested in the home inspection business for a long time.
Well, Bill, that's ironic. I've always admired your style, and I've always admired your ability to educate these fine folks for sometimes 4-8 hours a day. I wish that I could do what you do.
Hey Preston, wouldn't it be cool if we switched? Preston, we sure got what we wished for, buddy.
We sure did. And now that you're the expert, Bill, I mean, you are wearing the pants, and I'm the instructor and the educator. Tell us what Home Inspection Carolina is doing these days to make the home buying process easier for realtors and home buyers.
Well, Preston, all our home inspection reports now are online for the real estate agent and the client to review the report online and to be able to create a repair list basically online by either clicking repair, accept, monetary compensation, and once they prepare the request, they can then press email, text, or print right then.
You mean it's all automated, Bill?
Absolutely, we are high tech.
Wow. What else is Home Inspection Carolina doing different these days?
Well, Preston, we're training our home inspectors to be non-alarmist. We are training them to put things into perspective and to simplify the message for the homeowner.
Non-alarmist is key, Bill. You remember those days of the 100-page reports and those 3-ring binders that would just go on and on and on, la 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 la. Thank you for being a good non-alarmist.
And Preston, one more thing. We fix the small stuff for free. Do you remember when home inspectors always put those little nitpicky items on those reports?
Oh, bless their hearts.
Well, at Home Inspection Carolina, if we can fix it in 5 minutes or less, we do it for free. We're better with a caulk gun than a keyboard any day. We just fix it.
You mean there's no cost for this, Bill?
Preston, it's free.
Wow.
Well, Preston, these pants really are a catch.
Well, Bill, I've enjoyed wearing the suit, but I don't think I could wear it every day because I got to fix the small stuff for free, and I don't want to ruin a good suit.
Preston, it's been a lot of fun flipping the switch.
Do you think that coming from that teaching background has almost made your job in like delivering news to a home buyer or even to a seller? Because I know sometimes when we get that home inspection report, the seller's like, "That's not true. That doesn't exist," and you're like, "Okay, let's have an educational moment, right? Like there's a teachable moment here." Do you feel like your teaching background has kind of prepared you for this?
Maybe so. That's I've never gotten that question, but that's probably true. I mean, the biggest thing in teaching, and personally with anybody is, dignity, right? Like you don't, like in your team leader. I mean, let's say you've got somebody who is telling you something that's obviously wrong, and you're in front of a bunch of people. Teachable moment here. I mean, I need to correct what that person's saying, but I don't want to embarrass them in front of. Because then I lose them. Because I do like that person. It's just what they're saying is incorrect. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of that, I don't know, what do they call it, a reprimand sandwich or something.
Yeah.
So, I love what you're saying, and I get that. I thought that same thing. But, then I found out. So now you've kind of switched it and let the people still have their dignity. Because sometimes you get that on a home inspection, especially when you get the buyer's dad. Or the uncle who did HVAC 10 years ago, and he's, and I'm like,
I know those moments.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm in a lot of home inspector forums, and you can imagine the jokes and stuff. But I put myself in there. I always put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, all right, let them tell their stuff. Let them, because they were brought in and they want to feel. Hey, I'm going to be a buyer's dad at some point. And I get it. I want to, bring value to my daughter, so I don't, teaching, you never take on somebody head on. You sort of, let's work together. How do we, I don't agree with 100% of what you're saying. I agree with probably about 90%.
Yeah.
But let's not be adversarial. We both have a common goal. We want to get this house sold. We want the best for that buyer, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I love going deep with the questions. It's really one of my favorite things.
You're good at it.
Thank you.
You made me cry within 10 minutes. Gosh, Lindsay.
You're welcome. All right.
I'm sorry you were so fantastic. Now you made me cry.
I was crying driving in this morning. Please just go a little faster. Yeah. Please. All right. This is always one of my favorite questions to ask because I think it is one of, it's an honesty, and it's an honesty point, and I always feel like I love to learn from other people. It's my favorite way to learn. I love to be in big rooms with people, so which makes it sound like it's going to be like this really fancy question.
I know. I'm not sure I'm smart enough for this one, but go ahead.
What was the biggest mistake you made early on in your career?
Oh, so many.
I told you it wasn't going to be like a fancy question.
That's tough because I can't narrow it down. I mean, to me, learning has always been a process of elimination. It's like, broken clocks, right, twice a day. And, it's like I have a podcast for home inspectors, and like, I don't claim to be an expert, but I can tell you a whole bunch of stuff not to do. I'll tell you a funny one.
All right, we love funny stories.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, but early on, I'm known for marketing, but, marketing is just the first part of it, right?
Yep.
The crazy pants, the whatever, but you've got to have the chops. All the marketing is just going to get them to use you the first time, but you've got to be good for them to use second, third, and 48th time.
Yeah.
But I was a little more brash when I was first on the scene. I'm settled down. There's some stuff I did then that I wouldn't do now.
All of us, Preston. You're not the only one.
Yeah, I had this wild marketing idea, and looking back, I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? So I went and bought a whole bunch of mini bottles, the little mini airplane bottles or whatever, and I put a little note on it from Home Inspection Carolina. I said, this is for when you read the other home inspector's report. I would not do that today. And I put it in all the boxes. Back then you could just put it in the boxes and stuff. Now some realtors loved it, thought it was funny, but I got a little bit of pushback. This is not respectful, blah blah. And now older me is like, I meant it to be funny. Yeah. Older me is like, I don't want to just, because I know all my competition and they're all good. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to be funny and get it off, so. I wouldn't do that today, so that would be a mistake. I don't know if it's the biggest mistake. I've certainly made bigger mistakes, but that was one of them.
That was definitely one marketing thing that we just, though I have to admit, that is quite funny. It would have caught my attention.
Yeah, well, can I tell you about another one?
Yeah.
So, same concept, sort of. Oh gosh, I'm embarrassed to say this now.
Uh-oh.
So, same thing.
Wait, pause that. Hold on. Oh my goodness gracious.
Please, you won't think bad of me when I tell you this.
Alright, so what's the other one? I gotta know now.
So I went, along that same vein, I went and bought the longest drywall screws you could get. They're 2.5, 3 inches long screws, that drive drywall.
Yep.
And then I put a little ribbon and a note on it, and I was like, did that last home inspector screw your deal? I'm so embarrassed. I should not have done that. I can take that back. That was 20-some years ago. And I feel bad because it's both cases I'm throwing off, but on an imaginary home inspector, you know what I mean? You gotta have, every, if you think about every great Disney, there's gotta be a villain. And if there's not, it's gotta be a strong person, I gotta create, so. But older me would never do something like that. It's pretty funny looking back, but anyway. You might want to edit that out.
I don't want to edit that out. I absolutely love that. All right. We've seen some crazy things in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
What's the craziest one you've seen?
That was a question I was going to ask you.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
I can't wait to tell you some of my crazy stories. As the inspector, I learned a lot as the agent, but I can't wait to tell you one of them. It'll be great.
I guess mine's kind of a funny story. I inspected this house one time in Dilworth. They're on the main drive. I can't remember. It's probably a business now. All those Queen Anne's right down East Boulevard.
Yeah.
And all those houses are, I used to say they're 100 years old, but they're probably 120 now. They're all turn of the century.
Yeah.
So they're really old. A lot of people live there. And I remember I was doing the inspection. This is earlier on, too. I was doing it myself. And it was one of those deals where the seller was just following me around everywhere. And it's tough if you're an inspector, to have the seller right on your heels, everything you do. And, I'm thinking, well, you got to talk to him. So I started talking to him. I was like, so it's a pretty old house, right? So you guys got any ghosts? And, didn't say anything, Lindsay. So I'm like, well, I don't put ghosts on the report, right? Still didn't say anything. So finally I was like, well, they say in some cases, they say the ghosts make the house more valuable. He said, well, in that case, we got 5. No, I don't know,
No way.
Yeah.
Did he ever elaborate more, or is that where he left it?
That's where he left it. So, I didn't put it in the report, so I don't know. Whoever bought it, if it's haunted, I'm sorry. I can't put that on the report.
You didn't ask any other questions?
Well, there were some other people. It was kind of going along. I was trying to finally I went in the crawl space and I lost them.
You do that too, but I would want more. I would want to know, like, who they are and what they, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Well, I inspected and I did a termite treatment. There's a house over in Monroe. It's the biggest house in Monroe. It's near 5 Points. It's been I knew the guy who owned it. It's sold 2 or 3 times. It's been a venue for like real estate and stuff. I think it was built in 1905. It was a railroad person, but it's the biggest, grandest house in Monroe.
I'm sorry if you live there and we're talking about your house.
No. It's a beautiful house. But I expected it, and they told me all about it being haunted, and it's been in the newspaper, and supposedly, somebody's looking out the window, and different things happen. But for what it's worth, I love ghost stories. I'm a history nerd. I love ghost stories, but I don't believe in them. Because
that's so funny.
But I love the folklore of it, if that makes sense. Because I love history, and I love all those stories.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history down here about that. Like,
100%. Do you know the story about Lydia? And oh my gosh, go look it up. Most famous ghost story ever in North Carolina. Really? Can I tell it real quick? I'm gonna hold it up.
Oh my gosh, no! Now you have to
bring it up.
Now I'm gonna have to wait.
So I was told this story when I was in elementary school. The famous North Carolina ghost. And so in Jamestown, which is between Greensboro and High Point, this guy was driving home one night, and all of a sudden he sees this beautiful girl, like, out, it's kind of rainy, like, in a beautiful dress, like, waving him down, and, this was, like, in the 50s or something. And so he picks her up, and she gets in, and he's talking to her, whatever. He gives her the address she was trying to get home. So she goes home, he drives into High Point, takes her to the address where it is. I think it's the 50s or 40s. And so he goes, and he pulls up the driveway, and he looks back. She's gone. And so he goes up and knocks on the door and tells the woman about this older woman, and then that woman, starts tearing up and says, "That's Lydia. That's my daughter, and she got killed on prom night back in the 20s, and she keeps trying to come home, but she never can because she's a ghost. She can't come home." And supposedly, word has that happened a couple of times.
I've never heard that story.
Look it up. It's a famous.
I am totally going to Google it.
100%. And the bridge, I've actually been to there's an overpass there in Jamestown. It's right across from Guilford Tech, where that happened. They built a new road, but the same thing is still there. It's probably Lydia trying to get home. And if you look it up, there really was a woman got killed in the 1920s, high school prom, by that bridge. So I don't know about all of those, but man, it's such a great story, and it's the most famous. I was told that when I was in hell. I never forgot it all my life.
Never forgot it.
And I'm in my 50s now.
Now you look for those ghosts when you're inspecting those homes.
Yeah. But it is not a material fact, though.
I learned that in real estate school.
Yeah. And even if, even if there's been a death, and that's not a material fact, I don't think. So.
I got a story for you on that one.
All right.
We were sitting in real estate school, and we kind of had this group of us, and we're sitting in the middle of class, and one of the guys gets a phone call, and he goes and he takes it, and he comes back, and he is like pale. And we're like, "You okay?" I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he ever told his wife the story.
Okay.
And so he interrupts class with the instructor, and he's like, "If somebody passes away in your house, is that material fact?" And the instructor was like, "No. Why?" He's like, "Well, if somebody was like killed in your house, is that a material fact?" And the instructor's like,
not unless it's like something that's infecting the walls or something.
Yeah, it's not.
House or something.
It's not. And so the instructor says,
We're all wondering now.
So he says, "I just got a call from like a true crime TV series that they would like to come in and have these families tell this true crime story about what had happened in our home right before we bought it."
how's that going to affect my real estate? Yeah, I am going to sell this house someday. I'm not sure I want it to be featured.
So he decided to not do the true crime show, and I don't know that I'm going to have to call him and ask him, number one, like, I don't know if they've sold it or not yet, to be totally honest, but I'm going to have to call him and ask him, like, did he ever tell his wife? Because I always wanted to know. We've kept in touch all these years, but I've never asked, like, yeah.
Do you know how many times, like, I found, like, a snake or something in the house, and there's been several instances, and I'm not trying to sound sexist or whatever,
Yeah.
but where the husband's like, do not tell my wife. Because we will, this,
She won't buy it.
we've looked at 50 houses, and finally, just, do not tell her. I'm like, okay.
Get a snake trap and move along.
Yeah.
Get a snake trap and move along. So, hold on, wait, I'm going to break. I'm going to go stand up because it's going to come off. So wait, hold on, we're going to go like this. We're going to go like this, and we're gonna censor it and turn it on. Okay, now we've got 10 minutes.
I'm going to send you one of those cats. They're solar powered, so they just keep it. The only bad thing is if it's over there, eventually the solar, you might have to battery pattern.
We're going to have to figure this out.
I got one. Eventually his little arm got tired.
And it just fell off.
Crazy story about that. I'm sorry, I'm holding you up. I know you got something to do. My wife, she gave 60% of her liver to her mother.
Wow.
This was back 2000, right before COVID. It was up in Pittsburgh because there's only a couple of hospitals in the world to do that. They do liver transplants. My wife is a living because it grows back. It's the only.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm there at the hotel. You know, I mean, this didn't just happen. This was like several times, and they had to study. And my wife's fine. Mom still, other health issues. But anyway, she did survive that. But I went walking there, and I guess it was kind of like a Chinese part of Pittsburgh or something there. And, and I'm hoping all this goes well. And I see one of those cats, and they sold them. And I asked them what that was for, and he said it was for good luck. And I was like, I need all I can get. So
I'll take 10.
Yeah, I bought it. It was like $5. But yeah, I had one of those little guys in my home. I still have it. It's just, I don't know if the little batteries wore out or something. I need to work on that.
And bring it in here to keep with us.
Yeah.
Bring it in here to keep with us.
It does its little arm power. Yeah. Supposedly that's supposed to bring good luck, I think. That's
interesting. That's why they have them.
At least that's what he told me to sell it. No, he sold me. I was like,
got me.
I'm in the market for some good luck, actually.
So thank you. How did you know? How did you know? All right. The real estate world as a whole, kind of filled with lots of rejection, right? We get told no a lot. People shop us a lot. How do you deal with the rejection of it?
That's a great question. And by the way, I have my real estate license.
Do you really?
Broker's license from way back. I did it so I could get the key. But I've never bought or sold other than I have rental properties. I don't compete with you guys, but I do feel your pain, I guess.
Buying your investments.
But I do. I understand, and I try to understand you guys as much as possible. But the rejection, it's anybody will tell you it's a numbers game. I mean, and I know, oh my gosh, like cold calling and stuff like that, and and I get a little bit of it too. I'm trying to get realtors to use, but we've got a lot of great, tons of great realtors out there, and a lot of the great realtors use me, a lot of great realtors don't use me. I'd like to get more of them over to my team, but it's the same sort of thing. It's like. I guess you just can't take anything personally. You just got to realize, and we've all been on the receiving end of a call that, and just realize, hey, that person's having a bad day or whatever, and this is what I do. It is funny though. Every once in a while, because I send out emails and stuff, and every once in a while, I'll get a nasty one back from a realtor. Not often, but every once in a while, and it's funny. One particular realtor, I'm not gonna say any names, but they sent me I guess they got an email from me or something, and I don't know, whatever. They lit me up, I guess it was unsolicited or something. Fast forward about 2 years, I get something in the mail from them. They start farming my neighborhood. And I wasn't ugly about it, but I did want to, so I said something to him. I was like, hey, man, and I was like, I love your marketing. It's great. And I was like, I got this in my mailbox. I didn't ask for it, but I get it. We all got to make a living. And I didn't want to rub it in because I'm not that type of person. But I did want to be like, hey, I do the same thing you do. I mean, I get it, but don't be too,
Yeah.
It's like I made a post the other day. I mean, it was, all of us older people, see the younger generation, and it's so easy to like, but I bet I can go back and find pictures of you and things you do. We were all young once, so
yeah.
take it easy on them, just, so it's going to happen. You're going to get rejection, and just know that going in. I mean, you're not going to please everybody.
No.
You're not Nutella.
No, and most people don't like Nutella. So you're really not going to, I don't know what's wrong with those people who don't like it. That drives me insane. What's the one myth in your field
I had that question too.
that you want to debunk?
Two real quick.
Okay.
Home inspection is not the same as appraisal. A lot of people kind of think that's the same thing. Appraisal is required by the bank to make sure the asset is worth what they're going to lend the money on. In case they have to take it back, they want to make sure that, because that'd be a bad business for them. But it's not an inspection. Inspection is to find out the I can never pronounce it right, habitability of the house, safety, heat, roof, that sort of thing. So that would be the first myth. The second myth, pass or fail. People think you pass or fail a home inspection. There's no such thing. But, for everybody who went to school, we would like to at least get a B. Yeah, there's no pass or fail. And I haven't seen a perfect house. I mean, every house has got something. But, if people take care of their house, and, it's just like when I'm sure you've had cars, multiple cars. Every time I sold a car, most people, let's go wash it and clean it up, get it in a little better shape than what it is right now. Same thing with a house. I mean, what is it? The 3 Ps: plants, paint, and the other one. Get rid of the portraits. Yeah. Nobody wants that, right? Yeah. So, there's no pass or fail in an inspection.
I think that is one of the most, especially in North Carolina, where even if you quote unquote failed a home inspection, like you can't just get out of your contract. I think that's been the hardest thing for people to understand. Wait, what do you mean if it fails inspection? I'm like, this is not your car, like your air quality test on your car. Like we check it off, we make sure it's safe, we go through it, but there's a do you want it or do you not want it? There's not a pass and a fail. And that I think is always very interesting.
And there's not going to be a perfect house. I mean, the great realtors prepare their clients. Say, look, they're going to find a whole bunch of stuff. But you got to look at everything as a whole and say, all right, all this is pretty easy to fix, cosmetic stuff. We want to, it's like a buffet. If you're going to go to the buffet, focus on the shrimp.
What you're saying is focus on the expensive stuff?
Expensive or safety, items. It's like, the handrail's loose, you got small children. That's a big issue to you.
That is.
It may not be expensive. Or, needs a new furnace. But, the door rubbing a little bit, it's not structural.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
So don't conflate the rice with the shrimp.
And how do you explain, I always think that that's interesting. Like, there are some things as a home inspector with your license that you're like, listen, I'm going to put this in there, and no, one of my favorite ones is, I'm just going to pick on it, is the anti-tip device on the stove.
Oh, the stove, yeah.
And I know you guys have to put that in the inspection reports. And I know that there's a reason, right? The reason why we write that, kids can flip them over if you've got climbers. I used to have my 18-year-old would hang from the molding of the doors and climb, American Ninja Warrior was really popular during that time, and so my kid was definitely parkouring anything he could get. So I understand why it's important, but some people really that really alerts them, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's not, that's, I mean, it's important.
It is.
But the fix is $12.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to have a $500 headache over a $15 problem. I mean, let's put it in perspective. And it's actually, I don't know what year that came about. I should know that, but it wasn't always the law or the code. So, there's a lot of pre-existing homes that don't have that. It is a good law. There's another one kind of like that. That all houses that have a pool in the backyard in Mecklenburg, if they have doors opening up to that pool, they got to have alarms on them. Everybody disables them, though.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because a child, if a child, the alarm. So they have to have alarms, but almost every single person disables them because they go off
constantly.
Yeah, it's like when you cook and the fire smoke detector fire over the stove.
And it goes off. I didn't know that. I have a pool in my backyard.
Yeah.
I have.
You probably have to put that on. It's not that expensive. I mean, it just fits on the door.
Yeah.
Thing. So.
Oh, I learned. You taught me something new today.
Yeah, and around here we have to have a 4-foot fence. You have to have a self-closing.
I have all of that. I just don't have the door. I have multiple fences, multiple gates to get to my pool. Actually.
Well, I talked to an insurance person one time, and have you ever been to Hilton Head? Mm-hmm. You've been to like Sea Pines?
Yes.
Well, their aesthetic is they don't like fences. Mm-hmm. So that people have pools, like you just go right up to the pool. They don't have the fences there because of the neighborhood thing. And it's like the insurance, from what I understand, is crazy expensive because they don't have that. Because in their mind, the aesthetics. If you ever been to Sea Pines, sorry.
No, that's not your fault. I wasn't watching the clock. There we go. Now I'm watching it. If you've ever been to Sea Pines with the fencing.
Yeah, well, you've done the bike trails and stuff.
Yes.
You can see, like, everybody, almost nobody has a fence or anything.
No.
But here, that's definitely right up,
Yeah.
Because it's small children,
I don't blame it. My insurance is less for it.
Yeah.
As less as my insurance can be with a pool. So.
Yeah. And we have a Frenchie, too, and Frenchies can't swim. I thought all dogs, you think all dogs can swim, but Frenchies can't.
I have 4 big dogs, and they can't swim.
They can't? Yeah, wow.
No, they cannot. All right, let's leave it with this. You have clearly, you have left an impression on people in your past. Who has left the biggest impression on your life and has caused your business to kind of go where it is now?
My wife. 100% my wife. Best decision I ever made, ever. I keep worrying one day she's going to wake up and go, what am I doing?
With all your 50 pants.
Yeah. No, but just, for example, she was a school teacher too, and she works with me in the business. My wife is just the best person I know. I mean, she's like, she's never done anything out of spite. She's never, just not in her lexicon. And she, obviously she, without hesitation, volunteered to give, 65% of her liver to her mother. It regenerates, but I mean, you got to go under the knife to do that. And just the example she sets for me makes me want to be a better person. Makes my children want to be better people, and she's active in our business, so she's the heart, she's the heart of our business. So yeah, definitely her.
I love that. Thank you for sitting with me and sharing your stories. It's been really heartwarming for me, and it's been a great opportunity to get to know you, and I'm really proud to call you a preferred vendor here at South Park. We have loved having you guys. We love how much you spoil us here, so thank you for being one of our business partners.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting us introduce your teams. Sorry, we messed that up.
Award ceremony! You guys were great!
Just roll with it. I think everybody's in a good mood.
Just roll with it. That was
like, for all the listeners, it's like 1 through 5. Well, but you do it in reverse order. 5, 4. Yep. And I was with another vendor. We had worked it out where I was going to say 5, and you were going to say 4, and then I was going to say 3. And, just back and forth. And I guess so I said 5, and then they said 1 as 4. That took Brian's place was like, what just happened? He realized he came, he saved it. He was great. But looking back, backtrack. Yeah, I think it worked out. I was like, oh shit.
We had a lot of fun at that awards.
That was an awesome. I go to a bunch of those. Yeah. And no lie, that was you guys. I've been to 2 of yours now. Yeah. You put on a good awards show.
We're having fun with it.
Yeah, I think it shows.
There's nothing better than recognizing all of these agents that are in this office,
and kudos to you, Lindsay. I track offices. I am a little bit of a stalker. You guys know.
No.
You guys have the top office over and over, and that, first of all, to be number one and to stay number one, because then everybody's gunning for you.
Yes.
So you're doing something right. So kudos to you.
Thank you. It's this group that I get to be in business with every single day. We were just recognized in our Keller Williams ecosystem as the number one market center that gives back transactionally to our KW Cares Foundation.
That's what you were talking about earlier. See, you have a higher purpose.
Yes.
And when you have a higher purpose, you get up earlier, you sit in traffic because you have a higher purpose. It's not just making a living, it's I have a higher purpose.
Yeah.
That's a much better driver, I think.
Otherwise, it wouldn't make Charlotte traffic worth it.
Not at all.
I love it. All right, let's switch. Let's do this. I want to see with John. He wants to fix that camera.
Okay. Do we have time to do mine? If you've got
yes, no, I don't have anything until 12.
Okay.
So no, we're totally. He just wanted to. I don't know.
I'll stop this one and start.
We still have 34% on this one, so we can.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.